By now, I'm sure we all know how smart and caring elephants are. They are often seen pulling their offspring away from danger. One instance can be found in the elephant habitat at the Seoul Grand Park Zoo in South Korea. This next clip from Thailand's Elephant Nature Park demonstrates that the selfless acts of kindness exhibited by elephants are not restricted to members of their own species. In the video, an elephant named Kamla rushes to the aid of her favorite caretaker Derek when she fears that he may be drowning in the river. You can see how relieved she is when he's safe. Truly amazing. You can learn more about the work done by this charitable organization by visiting saveelephant.org, an organization dedicated to the preservation of Asian elephants. A Trailcam set up in the mountains of southwestern Virginia captured this very strange photo in 2015. The image shows some sort of unidentified animal rummaging through the fallen debris. It has long, ape-like limbs, no visible tail, and is covered in dark, shaggy fur. When this photo first surfaced, many were quick to suggest that the mysterious creature could actually be a young Sasquatch foraging for food. The creature appears to be very sturdy as the animal grasps the base of the tree stump. It has elongated feet similar to a man's, and its fur is matted on the back, but thin on the arms and legs. Experts drew parallels to this well-known photograph taken in 2007. Bigfoot enthusiast Rick Jacobs managed to capture this striking image on a trail camera in the forests of northwest Pennsylvania. It appears to be an ape-like creature digging through the undergrowth. When this photo surfaced, several Bigfoot researchers believed it to be evidence of a juvenile Sasquatch. As you can see, the beast captured in this photo bears a striking similarity to the one taken by Williams. What are these mysterious creatures? Could these images really be proof that Sasquatches are roaming the countryside? Or perhaps these are chimpanzees that have escaped. Maybe a starving bear, or something else entirely. You be the judge. If you liked what you saw in this video, be sure to check out this one, where you will see more amazing captures. As always, please like, subscribe, share with a friend, and hit the bell icon so you get notified every time I post a new video. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. The star of our first video clip is quite the character. Standing at only 22 inches high, this is the Vietnamese mouse deer, thought to have been extinct for years. Here's a trail cam video of him. The fanged mouse deer, or Vietnamese mouse deer, is a fascinating creature. This animal is much smaller than typical deer species and is found only in Vietnam. Since mouse deer are so small, they are able to avoid being seen by predators. These mouse deer are very elusive. They have actually been able to avoid being seen for 3 decades. Beginning in the latter part of the 20th century, reports of sightings of mouse deer gradually dwindled, and then stopped altogether after a period of a few years. Following decades of decreasing numbers, experts had concluded that this extinct species of deer had finally died out. So you can imagine their shock when a hiker claimed to have seen a mouse deer-like animal. Authorities were initially skeptical, but after setting up several trail cams in the area of the sightings, they were able to capture images of this incredible creature. Hours and hours of footage, as well as hundreds of still images, were captured by trail cameras showing a solitary mouse deer foraging for food and keeping a wary eye out for any danger. Fast forward to today, researchers are trying to get a count of wild mouse deer and figure out what they can do to restore their population. A man by the name of Alex from New South Wales, Australia, caught something absolutely terrifying on his trail camera. The camera was mounted in a very remote area of the woods behind his house. He would occasionally pass this spot when he would take a walk to clear his mind. He said, however, that every time he walked past this spot, he got a weird feeling. It would get really quiet. All wildlife noises would stop. He thought he was entering some sort of vortex or gateway somewhere. He decided to put up a trail camera. For weeks, the camera didn't catch anything. No creatures, no people, no animals, nothing. That all changed one night as he was combing through footage, and this horrifying image popped up. The footage is pretty unsettling. You can see the creature's glowing dead eyes. Glowing eyes are not generally a characteristic of humans, and you can see the head of an odd, humanoid, alien-looking creature looking directly into the camera. Many nocturnal animals, such as raccoons and coyotes, have glowing eyes, but not generally humans. I'd say this demonstrates that this creature's not human. Some people say the creature resembles a skinwalker. It looks paranormal to me. What do you guys think about this creature? This next video is pretty crazy. Environmentalists immediately started looking for the elk known as the elk with the tire around his neck after his discovery was first reported in 2019. This elk would occasionally appear on trail cameras, including this one used by hunters. So much so that it took them 2 years to pinpoint the elk's exact location. When they finally succeeded in doing so, they used a tranquilizer dart to take down the elk. They needed him down long enough to remove the tire from his neck. Unfortunately, the elk's antlers had to be removed as part of this task, which probably came as quite a shock to him when he woke up. Fortunately, elk grow new antlers every spring, so he wouldn't be without them for too long. Very cool video. For our next clip, we're heading back to the Appalachian Mountains. An uploader was asking for help identifying some gruesome screaming they heard. They explained that they don't have any neighbors and there are no native animals that would make this sound. Here's the sound captured by the trail camera in their barn. Insane if you ask me. Does anyone have any idea what this could be? The following clip was taken by a TikTok user in the UK. It shows the uploader's cat engaged in a tense standoff with a fox, which he claims was attempting to steal an egg from their garden. This particular cat is not going to give up that egg without a fight though. Despite the fact that the vast majority of cats would never risk going up against an adult fox, this one doesn't seem to care. The cat eventually gets the fox to back down, with a series of hisses and stern meows before chasing it off. If you haven't noticed by now, take a look at this courageous cat. He's missing a front leg, which makes his victory over the fox all the more impressive. This cat is not one to be messed with. Okay everyone, since I botched the last hidden lion video so badly, I apologize. Here's another one. As you can see in the picture, there are 2 lions lazily laying by this little creek bed. Can you find the third one? Okay, I'll give you a hint. The 2 male lions are laying down, the female is hidden. Okay, she is hidden right over here. A stealthy little lady. Honestly, she's probably just trying to get away from the guys. There are literally hundreds of thousands of purported Bigfoot sightings each year in the United States of America alone, but only a shockingly small percentage of them have been caught on trail cameras. As we see here in the upper right corner, we can make out what appears to be a hairy bipedal creature leaving the clearing. You can see the back of the animal heading off into the thicker part of the woods. What makes this picture more believable is how the deer is reacting to him. The deer was calmly checking out the trail camera, but is clearly scared of the strangely large animal behind him, and looks to be keeping a close eye on it to protect itself from a surprise attack. I'll leave this one up to you guys. Is this real? Is this just a bear? Or is it another Bigfoot hoax? This next clip proves how amazing cats are. As you can see, a toddler and a cat are just hanging out together. The toddler beelines for the steps, but the cat is not having it. Not on my watch, he says, and pushes the boy back to safety. Another angle shows the cat watching the boy intently as he crawls away. The cat is aware of the danger of those steps. The boy even pauses and looks back at the cat. And boom, he's off to save the day. Just an amazing clip. A creepy surveillance video showed this creature walking down a dark road. The video quality is pretty poor, but you can make out a crab-like creature. What is this thing? What makes it most believable to me is the dog's reaction. Coming up. He glances at it and then gets out of the way. I have very little info on this video, so if you know more, let me know in the comments, please. These next short clips are a little different, but part of a really cool series released on Instagram by a channel called The Dark Side of Nature. Check these out and let me know what you think in the comments. The Stygian owl, also known as the devil's owl, is mostly found in Mexico and parts of Central and South America. At first glance, he looks to be a pretty normal owl. He is standard size and has a conventional color, but this guy has one very distinct feature. As you can see here, the owl's eyes are yellow. However, that can change very quickly. These ominous looking birds have reflective discs that gives their eyes a bright red appearance when exposed to daylight, which makes them extremely creepy. They have even been confused with Mothman, the cryptid that terrorizes the night sky with its piercing red eyes. Despite their outward appearance, however, these owls do not hold any special powers or pose any threats to humans, but really cool to look at. In July of this year, a man named Douglas Windsor, a Kentucky native, took to Facebook to share some spine-tingling footage that he shot. This was captured on a surveillance camera set up outside his home. Douglas explains that one evening he was checking his security cameras and was astounded to see a gaunt, glowing humanoid figure stalking his front yard. I'd say that was a pretty accurate description, hunched over and moving slowly across the man's yard, with his back bowed and his arms stretched slightly outwards, eager to seize the first victim it comes across. When mainstream news reported this, it didn't take long for other Kentucky residents to take notice. They started sharing their encounters with comparable creatures. According to one Twitter user, they'd seen a pale humanoid figure running across their neighbor's lawn. Another mentioned something about a creature disappearing into the forest. No one has been able to identify what is on camera. In this clip, we've stumbled on two cats enjoying a romantic night under the stars. Caretakers explain that it didn't take long for these two to become acquainted. They have a very unique bond, and now they're inseparable. Predators like the mountain lion are textbook opportunists. The meal that presents the least amount of challenge is the one they will always prefer. They are stealthy and hunt primarily by their sight. As I play this next video, we can see two small dogs in a snowy courtyard. The owners most likely were letting them out one last time before bed. The dogs are sniffing to do their business, and you can tell they sense something is in the area. One dog actually sees the lion at the entrance, but luckily the gate is closed. The lion slinks away to set up his attack. And there he is. He makes quick work of that partition and lunges to get one of the pups. Thankfully, Mom isn't far behind and flies out of the house to somehow prevent the lion from making off with one of her babies. She wasn't letting this happen on her watch. Let's take another look at the lion coming over the wall. Look how big he is. Freaking huge. I often forget how big these animals are. I hear the word lion and the first thought that comes to my mind is a huge African lion. But these mountain lions are big too. Look at this thing compared to the woman. You have no shot against this animal if he really wants you. One last thing to point out is that if Mom had decided to walk her dogs, unfortunately she might have been the meal. Especially since it appears she's in a fur coat of some sort. Luck was definitely on their side. There are many videos and pictures and claims of people capturing UFOs from all around the world on the internet. It's hard to tell which ones are credible. Some of these documentations come from people that have a vested interest in you believing what they tell you. Others just come from whack jobs, and some are just downright fake. This next clip is one of the best videos suggesting there is something in our skies that might imply humans aren't the only ones living on this planet. This video was captured by a man named Kerry. Kerry and his family moved out of the city and took up homesteading in the Wisconsin country. They filmed their lives for the YouTube channel called Homestead How, and shows different styles and tactics of homesteading, so he was not expecting to capture this on camera. His family crowds around the computer and they see one of the photos in question, and when he zooms in you can see that it looks exactly like a UFO. His daughters are kind of giving him a hard time, but Kerry is adamant that he didn't do anything to the photo. He didn't apply any edits or special effects to it. To further prove his point, he crops the picture and blows it up, and as you can see, there is definitely something extraterrestrial about this image. The circular shape of it and even the spotlight coming off of it. I mean, what is that? I've seen those spotlights off helicopters, looking for a runaway fugitive, but that thing is definitely not a helicopter. And I have to admit, while I have no idea what this thing is, I'm with Kerry. I think it's a UFO. At the very least, some type of government vehicle we don't know about. I'd love to hear what you guys think it could be. I'm all ears. Some people see bears and think that they're soft and cuddly and cute, and at the very worst that they are overprotective of their young. But lest we forget that these animals are apex predators that have to eat. This next video is insane. This terrifying event occurred in Whitefish, Montana. Filmed by an unsuspecting tourist on a chairlift, the bear emerges from behind some low brush and heads straight down the mountain for the biker, who was riding the trails of the closed ski resort. As the bear is charging down the hillside, you can see that he's taking the angle towards the rider, gaining ground by cutting through the brush. The video cuts off just as the mountain biker enters a thick forest with the bear hot on his heels, and just before the course takes a sharp turn. Even though the pursuit took place at an out-of-season ski resort, the Montana Knife Company was the first to release the tape. The video was captioned with a brief warning saying, "Montana is not Disney World." Even though there's no on-record statement from the rider, those in the area insisted that he was okay. For me, it would be fascinating to learn when, or if he even recognized that the bear was chasing him. Feral hogs are extremely detrimental to natural habitats and endangered native plant and animal species. Once they've established themselves, they are nearly impossible to eradicate. Adult feral hogs have no natural predators aside from humans, and exhibit very high reproductive potential. But we have seen hogs be helpful in certain situations. For example, this raccoon using a hog as a step stool, / getting a literal piggyback ride to get to the corn feeder on this property. Some might argue these hogs aren't all bad, but when they get a look at this next unexplainable photo, they might have a change of heart. Here you can see some type of skeletal creature with glowing eyes riding bareback on a hog. If you look closely, you can see the creature holding a spear, and he has what appear to be wings. Others that have seen this photo say that the wings prove that he is a fallen angel, but I'm not so sure. Not much is known about this picture circulating, but if a trail camera really did capture a mystical creature riding a hog, it's pretty incredible. Personally, I'm leaning towards this being a hoax, unless anyone has any ideas of what it might be. This next video shows bears in a more caring, docile way. Filmed by a wildlife photographer in Montana, you can see a mother and her cub in a tree. The cub looks to be a little too high in the tree and possibly even stuck, but soon you'll see why. As the mom hits the ground, a pack of coyotes run her back up the tree. The coyotes most likely more interested in the young cub than the mother. This next video shows a little softer side of coyotes, and dare I say coyote-bear friendship? These two were caught on a trail camera, strolling through South Naples, close to the Naples Beach Hotel and Golf Club in Florida. I've posted a few instances of different species of animal caught on trail cams together, and just like those, this one makes me wonder what these two are up to. The trail cam owner says he suspects that the coyote is using the bear's keen sense of smell to locate food. I think it's more likely that the bear is luring the coyote, because the coyote is going to be its food. Or perhaps they're just using the same trail at the same time of day by chance. With deforestation, bears and coyotes have been pushed into more urban areas, so it's crucial to keep certain attractants like trash and pet food under wraps, and to keep an eye on any livestock or pets on your property. Attacks on people are rare and seldom result in significant injuries, but they have been on the uptick. Personally, the coyote isn't the one I'm worried about. The bear, on the other hand, well, we know how that attack would likely end. Rut or rutting is a term used to describe the behavior of deer or moose during the breeding season, when males pursue females that are in estrus and ready to breed. Some hunters believe the first rut happens when the cold snaps. Regardless, the first sign of rutting behavior is often sparring amongst the bucks. These spars are usually short-lived, high-intensity pushing and shoving matches. I'm sure everyone watching this has seen a deer in rut, and maybe even elk. But have you all seen bull moose in rut? Well, this video shows just that. Two bulls square off in a Colorado man's driveway. The sound their antlers make is incredible. They smash into the vehicles. There goes a mirror. And they eventually end up in the bed of the man's pickup, where one of their antlers gets stuck. You can tell by the pause that when they're in the truck, they've realized they've gone too far. They overdid it. Just an incredible camera capture. Pixies, fairies, elves, and the like are all mythical creatures of British folklore. Many people have a deep-rooted belief that these creatures actually exist. Pixies, in fact, are said to be helpful to normal humans, sometimes helping needy widows and others with housework. They are not completely compassionate, however, as they have a reputation for misleading travelers, hence the phrase pixie-led. Via his YouTube channel, Erwin Saunders has been tracking the whereabouts of a group of pixies whom he calls wilderness folk in the remote English forest for 25 years. Let's take a look at a clip. In this clip, as he's setting up for a video, a group of pixies shows up and are intrigued by what's going on. Erwin and a colleague are set up in camouflage some yards apart, while you can see the pixies scurrying around on the ground, eventually surrounding the one man. Now, at first glance, I'll just say it, they look real. Now, of course, I don't know if they are, and I'll say this. The pink children's walkie-talkies don't lend much credibility to the whole operation, if you ask me. But Erwin has dozens and dozens of videos on his channel featuring these pixies, so I'll let you guys decide. Nonetheless, very entertaining. Let me know in the comments what you all think about these pixies. Are they real, or just really well done CGI? This next video was caught on a security camera on a dark alley-type street. A young kitten has been bombarded and cornered by a wild pack of aggressive street dogs. A cat is no match for even one of these dogs, let alone an entire pack. The young kitten does its best to fend the dogs off, but it's just a matter of time. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Mama Cat comes flying in to protect her baby. She's swatting and clawing and hissing and wreaks enough havoc for the dogs to change focus, allowing her kitten to slip away. Once they back Mom into a corner, as cats do, she thinks quickly and is able to escape the scene, as you can see in the upper left of the video. All in all, just another instance of motherly love. In 2009, a YouTube account named Yevgeny2000 was created to upload a single mysterious video of a supernatural encounter in the Russian wilderness. It promoted nothing, didn't ask for likes or subscribers or for you to tune into the next one. There was no eerie music, just one singular video. The video starts by showing a dog named Tarzan visibly intrigued or bothered by something. As Tarzan takes off on the path and the camera follows him, you can clearly see what is bothering him. At the end of the clearing, you can see a woman and a child, Notably, one is firmly on the ground while the young girl is levitating in the air. Assuming the woman is the child's mother, she doesn't seem frightened at all. She's just standing there watching her daughter float. She eventually notices they're not alone, as Tarzan comes running up to them. The video shows the child breaking the levitation and descending back to the ground, where her mother grabs her and they quickly flee the area. As we play it back, we can see the young girl casually hovering in the air, or, as others have speculated, maybe it's the mother holding her up in the air with some of her telepathic powers. Personally, I picture a scenario where the young girl possesses these superpowers, and to harness them, her mother has to take her to a remote place to exhaust these powers. And if none of this is true, and this video is just a fake, why upload it in the first place, and never post another video ever? What would prompt him to do that for seemingly no benefit? Let me know what you guys think about this video, and if you've ever seen anything like this or know more of the backstory. It's been well documented that dog is man's best friend. They almost never seem to let us down, and they often know exactly what we need. And that is definitely the case in our next video. Haley Moore and her dog Clover became best buds as soon as she laid eyes on Clover. Clover is a Marama sheepdog, and the Moores have had her for roughly 2 years. On March 16th in Ontario, Canada, Haley was taking Clover for their daily walk. About 5 minutes in, as captured in this video, Haley begins to get woozy, collapses, and begins having a seizure. You can see Haley is fighting to get up, and that's when Clover springs into action. She manages to get Haley to roll over and gets her off the cold snow and ice and closer to the dry pavement. Clover is circling and barking, trying to help Haley regain herself. She realizes there is really something wrong, and she can't help Haley. You see Clover glance over at an approaching truck, and that's when she decides she's going to flag this guy down. Clover slowly positions herself in the road in front of the man's truck, softly wagging her tail to signify she's not a threat. The Good Samaritan leaps out of the vehicle and immediately begins to help Haley, ultimately calling 911, getting her into an ambulance into the hospital. And amazingly, Haley was able to make a full recovery. But another amazing part of this story is that the Moores had no idea that Clover had been the one to stop the man that helped Haley. They thought the man had just been driving down that particular street and saw Haley on the ground. It wasn't until a news station reached out, interested in airing the footage of Clover saving Haley. They were blown away. Fighting back tears, Haley's mother said, quote, "We would have done anything for Clover, and now we know she will do anything for us." Just an amazing story. This is a really cool Trailcam capture here. As you can see, a little squirrel is just foraging around, minding his own business, when all of a sudden out of nowhere, that guy tries to make him a meal. Unbelievable. I picture the hawk just perched atop his tree and waiting for the absolute right time to strike. I mean, he came in there like a speeding bullet. You can also tell that the squirrel at the last split second must have changed his position or ducked, but somehow got out of the way. A hawk wouldn't have misjudged his attack like that and slammed into the tree if he hadn't been caught off guard. It appears this little squirrel will live to fight another day, while the hawk goes back to the drawing board. This next short clip may help explain that last video and how the squirrel avoided the hawk. Perhaps it's their will to live. Look at how this thing hits the ground. Boom, and he just scurries away. He didn't even hesitate. Let's watch it again. This tree is huge, and this little guy just rides it down, smashing into the earth, and he's gone. I'm amazed he ran away from that. We've seen some videos of feral hogs and boars in the past, and if you know anything about them, you know how dangerous they can be. They've become a big problem here in the United States. They have virtually no predators outside of us humans. In this next video, honestly, I have no idea what this guy's doing. You can see the hog near the brush pile, and as the dog lunges at him, the hog veers off and goes after the man. I mean, have your gun ready for God's sake. The boar knocks the man over, but doesn't pursue him much more. Luckily, the dog distracts the boar and the man is able to get up. A very strange part of this video to me is how easily the man is able to pin that huge hog down. I'd love to hear some ideas from some experienced hog hunters. There's no way that man should have been able to pin that animal. I'm thinking the dog must have been chasing the hog and tired him down. That would explain the ease in which the hog submitted, and I guess also explain why the man didn't have his weapon drawn, even though he still should have. Let me know in the comments what you think about this capture, and if you have any experience hog hunting. The following video depicts a softer, more familial side of wild hogs. Farmers are harvesting their corn in this video when they spot some movement inside a little cluster of corn that is yet to be knocked down. As he approaches, a family of pigs run out, and they narrowly avoid being clipped by the harvester. The hogs are able to flee across the field and into the woods. Cornfields are said to be a favorite of hogs, and when some of the corn is soaked, it emits a distinctive odor that attracts the feral pigs. I bet a close call like this one is probably why some farmers harvest the cornfields from the middle. Plantation workers in the deep forest of Burma, a country in Southeast Asia, had been seeing a strange creature showing up on their property. He would show up at different times, during the morning or around dusk. One day, he wandered onto their property, and what they captured on the next video blew them all away. Here, the creature is crawling over some downed vegetation. It looks like some kind of leopard or panther or big cat-like animal to me. He definitely seems weak as well, like he has no energy or strength. The workers are unsure of what to do with him, but somehow get him into a cage, and he's pissed about it. The claws this creature possesses are incredible. You can see his long, deadly claws wrapped around the metal cage. He even rips at the cage with his mouth. At first, I thought the only formidable thing about this guy was his claws, but then I saw his bite strength as he tore through portions of this metal cage. The creature's frantic efforts to escape the confines of the cage resulted in several broken teeth and bleeding of the mouth. Many natives believe that this is the legendary water monster, a figure from Chinese folklore. Others believe that this is a small sun bear that could have gone bald as a result of the polluted water near his home. However, no one knows for sure what it is or where it originated. But whatever it is, you can tell that it possesses some real power. Let me know in the comments if you know any details about this creature. This next video is amazing and was taken by two friends that were coincidentally going to check their trail cameras. While they were walking on the trail, they noticed what they thought was a dead deer ahead of them. When they got closer, they realized she had been tangled in some old barbed wire. One man begins to cut her loose. Even when she's free, she doesn't move. The man notices her neck is twisted in such a way, but eventually, when she realizes these good men are here to help, she's off. We've all seen the like of werewolves in movies, and know of documented case of dogmen, but I'm not sure any of you have witnessed anything in the wild like this before. I certainly don't believe I have. In the next image captured by the Trailcam, we get an excellent look at what can only be described as a wolf-man hybrid, an apex predator and a terrifying monster that is similar to what was described in an encounter that is known as the Beast of Bray Road. According to legend, the creature was first seen in 1936. Several supposed witnesses claim the beast left extensive scratch marks on their doors and trunks. One witness reported that she collided with something while crossing Bray Road. When she got out of her car to see what she had hit, a big wolf-like thing with red eyes followed her back into her car, leaving claw marks on the rear passenger door. Animal mutilations have also been recorded in the vicinity of Bray Road, with animal corpses, including deer and livestock, half-eaten and specific organs removed from their bodies. To this day, reported sightings continue. Most recently in February of 2018 and July of 2020, in Spring Prairie and Lyons, both in Walworth County, purported witnesses saw a big, hair-covered upright monster. Is it possible that this really is the beast that lives on Bray Road? In this next capture, as the number of incidents in which cattle were slaughtered by an unidentified creature continued to rise, fear began to spread. Residents of this Puerto Rico town thought they met a legendary creature in parts of the Americas, with its first purported sightings in Puerto Rico in 1995. The name comes from the animal's reported vampirism. The chupacabra is said to attack and drink the blood of livestock, including goats. As the time went on in Puerto Rico, the investigators were told by some of the eyewitnesses that it was something that resembled an ape, and they began calling it a chupacabra, due to the fact that it predominantly attacked goats and other farm animals. This case was never solved and the investigation never closed. I'd love to hear your theories about this. What type of animal leaves those fang-like marks? An apple farmer in North Georgia was dumping old, imperfect apples in a spot in his woods. He would occasionally see deer and raccoons, other small critters on his trail cam. One day he even saw a mother black bear and her cubs, and he figured they must have just been passing through. But 10 days later, his trail cam spotted this picture. While bears are of the order Carnivora, they are technically omnivores, and 80% of their diets include plant matter, with only 5% coming from meat. So a pile of apples in the woods is a sure thing for a bear. Anyhow, I'm sure it goes without saying, but he was pretty surprised. From this cam photo, you can count 12 bears. They probably feel like they've died and gone to heaven, with a few bears just sitting on top of the pile of apples. This is a great capture. This next trail cam capture is one of two. This one comes from Jaime in Northern California. Jaime is an avocado farm ranch hand. He said his boss had been setting up trail cameras for two reasons. One, apparently, avocado farming is highly competitive, and they had been experiencing some trespassing and minor vandalism. And two, that one of the dogs on the farm was killed by something, and they all suspected a mountain lion. The owner had been setting up trail cameras all over the property for weeks, hoping to catch a glimpse of the elusive mountain lion they suspected was in the area. But one morning when he checked the footage from one of the cameras, he got much more than he bargained for. There on the screen was a strange and unsettling image. A pair of claws and feet with long, sharp nails. He didn't know what to make of it. Like the rest of us, I'm sure, the first thing he noticed was the fur. This was definitely not a mountain lion, but what was it? And to me, the nails looked like something from the Ice Age, prehistoric times. Jamie said his boss took it to his grandfather and was told a story about a creature that lurked through the mountains long before the farm was there, and some of the strange encounters the older man had had while on the property. Reluctantly, he didn't give many details, but nevertheless, no one was able to identify this photo. I'd love to know what you guys think this could be. Our next video captured is that of a hero dog named Henry. Pictured here is Henry, a very persistent 8-year-old Boston Terrier, who unexplainedly kept barging into his human sister's nursery. The video starts as Henry's owner films Henry, asking him if he had gone into his 9-month-old sister's room as he sits behind the couch. "Henry, did you open your sister's door again?" It all started when Henry began acting a little strange. The baby was sleeping, but Henry wouldn't leave her be, something he normally doesn't do. Kelly and her husband explained that every time they shooed Henry out of the baby's room, once they turned their backs, he would go right back in there. Now he was starting to bark and be more persistent. He wouldn't leave her side. Kelly and her husband knew their daughter had a cold, but Henry is the first one that sensed things were taking a turn for the worse. His baby sister wasn't able to clear her airway and was unable to get oxygen, and she had started to turn blue. Once the couple noticed and checked on her, they rushed their baby girl to the ER, where doctors were able to clear her airway and get her back home later that night. The family said that Henry will definitely be getting extra Christmas presents, and he also has a very nice steak dinner in his future. The family says they feel forever indebted to Henry, and they knew he was special, but they didn't know he was also a hero. The next video was the second of the two submissions, this one coming from a man and his family. He requested that I not mention the town he's from or his name, so I'll refer to him as Jeff. The man writes that his family lives about halfway up a section of the Appalachian Mountain Range in eastern Kentucky. Jeff lives with his wife and teenage daughter. He goes on to explain that there's a popular camping site/destination a few miles from his home. The place is popular for tourists, but locals also enjoy spending time there. Jeff said his daughter had recently heard grumblings at her high school about strange things and sightings happening up on the mountain. Jeff thinks it's important to note the dynamic between the kids at the local high school. There are essentially two groups. The kids that live up the mountain, known as the mountain kids, and the kids at the base of the mountain that are closer to the town, whose families are most likely more fortunate and often look down on the mountain kids. Anyhow, the town kids start asking Jeff's daughter about these sightings. They seem really intrigued, but she hadn't heard or seen anything. She figured it was just her classmates trying to make something out of nothing. Most of the town kids often looked at the mountain as a mysterious, creepy place, and the mountain dwellers were all weirdos. She eventually mentioned what the kids were talking about to her dad. He had a good friend at the ranger station, and ironically, the ranger had been hearing about the strange sightings as well. The ranger told Jeff he had set up a few trail cameras and would keep him posted if he found anything unusual. On his way home, Jeff said, "Screw it, I'm going to set my trail cams up too." Jeff's a hunter, so he has some laying around, eventually setting up 3, one at the back of his house and 2 deeper off into the woods that was closer to a popular trail. Every few days he would check them. He'd catch the normal forest stuff, but he started to pick up a pattern, one thing in particular. His dog Moose would not leave the small area behind his house, which was really strange because Moose would sometimes be gone from sunup, well into the night. Moose was a chocolate lab and he loved to explore. The 2 cameras that were farther away from the house proved to be more fruitful, but what he caught on the one close to his house, well, it's enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. This is what he captured. Now, I don't know what this is. At first glance, my mind tells me it's some sort of alien because of the glowing eyes, and even because of the oddly shaped head. The picture is a little blurry, so you can't make out many facial features. But notably, humans don't tend to produce any eye shine like an animal such as a cat or a deer might, so that makes me wonder. Another strange part is that the creature doesn't seem to be wearing any clothes, but its body looks very much like a human's. Especially if you look closely at the legs and arms, you can see small bicep muscle definition and definition in the quads. However, when you get back to the hands, that's where things get sketchy again. The fingers look long and pointed, and the being could only have 4 fingers, you can't tell. I also can't decide whether this creature has crawled out of the woods and was startled by the camera, or he's in an aggressive stance waiting to rip the camera off the tree or even pounce on something. Jeff is at a loss. He's lived in those woods for a long time. He sent it to his park ranger buddy and he didn't know what it was either. Jeff writes, "In full disclosure, there are some sketchy everyday things that happen in the Appalachian Mountains. We've got unidentified creatures, to methamphetamine labs, to drifters and criminals hiding out on the mountain trails. So capturing odd sightings on camera aren't as crazy as they would be in other parts of the country." Well, this photo is insane. Anyhow, I'd love to know everyone's thoughts on this. Has anyone had a similar sighting or from the areas near the Appalachian Mountains that can confirm? I'd love to know any and all details and to continue the discussion. Our first video clip comes from a man named Daniel, who was filming a controlled burn on his family's farm in Oklahoma. Ironically, he was filming the burn for one of his social media channels where he talks about homesteading. He's got the fire going pretty well and he whips around the camera to do some commentary. It's really hard to notice at first, but when we zoom in, you can see someone running in the background. Let's take another look. What could that be? It wasn't until about 9 p.m. when one of Daniel's buddies messaged him asking him if that was a Sasquatch in his video. Daniel had no idea what he was talking about. He had to go back and watch his own video. I mean, if that's not a dog man or a Sasquatch, then what is it? Who would be running through someone's farm, especially when it's on fire? I'd love to know what you guys think about this one. Our next clip is very mysterious as well, taking place in 2017 in Cambridge, New York. A family was having some strange occurrences happening on their land. One of their younger children and one of the family dogs wouldn't go into the woods anymore. So the family decided to put up some trail cams to try to uncover the mystery. Of course, the family knew they would capture plenty of video footage of animals. But what one of the cameras caught made their jaws drop. A young girl appeared out of nowhere. The family was stunned, and when they asked their children, none of them recognized the girl. The family asked neighbors if they recognized the girl, but no one did. A creepier part of this is that there's an urban legend about a young girl who went missing, and the young girl caught on the trail camera looks eerily similar to the girl that went missing. A paranormal expert was brought in, and she said that she could feel the presence of something in the area. I'll let you guys be the judge of this. Our next video takes us to Indonesia, where some dirt bikers have hit the trails. One of the guys has a GoPro attached to his helmet, and what started out as a fun ride would end up shocking them to the core. The creature to the right of the screen darts out onto the trail, causing one of the riders to lock up his brakes and crash. If we rewind, we can see the goblin at the top of the screen. It appears he notices the riders and attempts to get away. He eventually crosses the path and darts into the brush. With the camera still rolling, the riders pull up to where the creature disappeared and take a look. Not too close a look, though. To this day, the riders don't know what they saw on that trail. They hung around a bit before ultimately leaving the area, scratching their heads. Some that have seen the video have speculated the creature was a goblin, dwarf, or some type of elf. Personally, I have no idea what I just saw. This next video shows a creature spotted on Hilltop. A couple saw the creature as they were hiking on a logging road in British Columbia. While they were taking pictures of the beautiful scenery, they noticed some movement. When zoomed in, you can see a hairy ape-like creature walking around, swinging his arms. You tell me what you guys see. A video that surfaced from Lettuce Park, Florida shows what appears to be a Sasquatch or some type of ape walking around in a swampy forest. A man named Matt was canoeing around and saw what he thought to be a bear, but when he saw it walk, he knew it wasn't a bear. Matt reported the sighting to a park ranger, and she said she didn't know of any creature they had in the park with that description. And she even went on to say that bears rarely get into the park, and even when they do, most people don't see them. Many people that have seen this video think this is a skunk ape because of the ease in which he walked through the swampy area. I'd love to know what you guys think. Matt also said that if this is some type of hoax, this person is insane. There are 12-foot gators, water moccasins, and other poisonous critters all over that swamp. Matt said he continued to observe the creature, and when it seemed to notice him, he dropped below the water surface and vanished. Matt paddled up to where he was, but he was nowhere to be found. This incredible story took place around Christmas, December 20th to be exact. A Siberian husky named Koda, who was known for wandering, had disappeared. It was terrible. She had been missing for 3 entire days, and the family started to think the worst. They hadn't seen or heard from her, even after searching the entire valley, both on foot and using a snowmobile. To make themselves feel better, they did joke many times that perhaps she'd made new friends in the valley and was too occupied to come home. Finally, after those 3 very long days, Coda came sauntering back into the yard like nothing had happened, and she'd only been gone a few minutes. She wasn't hungry and didn't have so much as a scratch on her body. Of course the family was happy, but where had she been? And what had she been doing? They had so many questions for her. About a month later, Rachel's uncle was talking to a neighbor in the valley. The neighbor had a bunch of trail cameras set up for watching wildlife on his property, but he'd been away on vacation for weeks and only just started looking at the footage from late December. And what he caught on camera was amazing. Hundreds of pictures of their husky Coda and a buck kissing and sleeping together. Now, I'm sure that's not something you would believe without photo evidence, so here you go. Thank you guys for tuning into this week's episode on Dread Captures. As always, please like, subscribe, share with a friend, and we'll see you next week. This week's video comes from Mississippi, the swamps of Mississippi to be exact, and you're not going to want to miss it. We are going to be trying to identify this creature. But before we do that, let me give a little backstory. So this video was taken by a man who was out hunting feral hogs on his property. It took place around 6 p.m., the time the hogs usually come out. He walks through the woods with all his gear, gets to his regular spot, sits down, and happens to hear a noise about 50 yards away. He looks up to notice a big, muscular creature covered by black hair. He was crouched by a dead cypress tree. He carefully watched it, then whipped out his cell phone to start filming. The man has lived on this property for years, and he knew what he was looking at was definitely something that he had never seen before in those woods. Now, let's take a look at this video. Okay, here's the creature in question, the big dark object in the center of the screen. It's not the best video because it's filmed from a cell phone. One of the strangest parts of the video is coming up right here. He rips that piece of bark off or branch like a human. And coming up in a second, he either throws something or pushes something in the water. Boom, right there. You hear the splash. So as you can see, he's just kind of bent over there, either burying something or digging for something. And he kind of pops up, rips off some more branches or bark. Okay, in a few seconds, we're going to see this creature stand up, and I want you to pay attention to the way he does it. He doesn't just use his back. He uses his legs like a human would, standing up out of a crouch position. And boom. What is that? So yeah, that was the Mississippi video submission. Let's rewind it and look at some key parts. Okay, here's the first clip when he rips that piece of bark off and then it eventually falls in the water. You can hear and see the splash. I mean, what is this thing? And this next clip is particularly telling. Look at the way this creature stands up. He doesn't hinge his back, he uses his legs and stands up. What is that? Okay, one more time. Yeah, so I'm at a bit of a loss. Let me know what you guys think. Study it, analyze it, do a deep dive, and let me know in the comments what you guys think this thing could be. And especially if you've had any interactions with a creature that looks something like this. I would love to hear about it. But stick around now for some amazing trail cam captures from around the world. Okay, so I know I'm supposed to tell you I saved the best for last to entice you to watch the entire video. And there are some awesome ones at the end of this. But this one, I think, is my favorite because of the backstory. So a gentleman had set up a trail camera, not looking for anything in particular, he just wanted to see the wildlife that was on his property. And he got some good stuff, nothing too out of the ordinary. It wasn't until he checked another one of his trail cams nearby that he kept getting this strange image popping up. Now in the picture, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see the outline of the deer. However, the submitter says that this particular deer always shows up solo and always has this transparent look when on camera. And he often sees other regular normal deer. It's been dubbed the ghost deer for now, but I'd love to know what you guys think is going on here. This next trail cam capture is really cool. I love to see how animals adapt to their surroundings. Okay, here we have some local coyotes running off an outsider. Notice how quiet it is. Urban coyotes have learned to be silent or they'll be hunted down. After the battle, the outsider leaves to find a different spot. This next trail cam still captures a doe running through the woods. At first glance, you can see that there's something wrong with her face. My initial thought was maybe that she was hit by a vehicle or that a hunter shot her and didn't finish her off. And when you zoom in, you can really see that the face is elongated. But ultimately, when you switch the resolution from low to high, you can zoom in and really see that she's running and it's her tongue that's sticking out. Which is a little odd for a deer to be caught on camera like that, but I would indicate that she's been running for a while. And when you see the next clip, you'll know why. Someone's dog has taken up chase. And unfortunately, we don't know the outcome of the chase. We'll just choose to believe that the deer got away. This next trail cam capture comes from Idaho, where a gentleman was building on his property. He kept seeing big cat-like footprints, so he put up a trail camera. And obviously he got more than he bargained for. Our last trail cam picked up some cranes walking through the woods, which isn't typically their habitat. It makes me wonder if they're just migrating to a different location, or something has pushed them deep into the woods. Alright guys, that'll do it for this week's episode. Thank you all for tuning in, and as always, like, subscribe, but also let's start a conversation in the comments. I would love to know what you guys think about all of these trail cam videos. The footage I'm about to show you was captured by a nature lover as they enjoyed a hike through the Appalachian Mountains. However, after what they saw during that hike, I'm not sure they'll be coming back anytime soon. This unsettling video shows an unidentified creature watching the hiker from behind a log. It's very obvious that whatever this is, it doesn't want to be seen. It observes the hiker while keeping the rest of its face hidden behind the log. The animal's eyes appear to be completely black, a characteristic that is frequently linked to cryptids and other beings. And honestly, I've watched this video dozens of times and I'm at a complete loss when I look at this creature. The only thing my mind sees is a sea lion, and obviously they don't live in the mountains. Unfortunately, I do not have a lot of information about the person who took this video, but it's apparent there are some very strange things lurking in the Appalachian Mountains. I'd love to know your take on what this could be. An early morning visit of the worst kind took place in southern Africa, when a pride of lions started raiding a campsite. Well, things quickly spiraled out of control. You can see the man is awakened and opened his tent and looked out. As the massive male lion approaches, the man does the only thing that he can do and zips up the tent and awaits his fate. The man must have really felt like he brought a knife to a gunfight. The female lioness is the first to lose interest, and luckily her male companion follows. After the lions leave the area, the man quickly hops out of his tent and heads to check on whomever he was camping with. When you decide to sleep in the brush of Africa, I'm sure something like this crosses your mind, but it's pretty scary for it to come to a reality. Let's watch some footage with some original audio. You can hear the guttural sound from the lion and the man in the background. Personally, I've never been in a situation like this, but I feel like I would be calling less attention to myself than this guy is. Let me know what you guys would have done in this situation. A hair more gentle than the last video, but still scary nonetheless. Here we have campers filming two lionesses licking rain pellets off the liner of their tent. It's pretty amazing if you can block out the part where you might be their next meal. What would you have done in this situation?